What's up, everyone? Welcome to Test Your Might, the weekly video game debate show. Join Joe, Cicero, Justin, and myself, Mike, along with some special guests as we debate all things video games. If you would like to support us, please share, subscribe, and leave a review. Now, enjoy the show. What's up, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Test Your Might. Not going to debate today unless, Cicero, you want to throw hands. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Ready for that all the time. Always.
Those sultry tones, is sultry a right word? Those luscious...
Dulcet.
Dopest
Dulcet
tones, dulcet.
There you go.
Everything you hear is the Mafia Lord himself, Cicero Holmes. How you doing today?
Say hi to your mother, Phil Spencer, for me.
Oh. Okay, then. Well, I think that might be a little bit of a foreshadow into what we're talking about today. Listeners, if you're listening to this, we just had a recent episode of Test Your Might, episode 59, so go check that out. But this is a bonus episode. Me and Cicero wanted to hop on here and just chat about the big news, get you guys with a little bit of our thoughts here on Xbox acquiring Activision-Blizzard. And so, let's get into it. Before we do, please leave us a review. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, all the things. We would greatly appreciate it. And I don't know if you knew this, but if you listen to us on Spotify, they just started having a review system with stars on there. So please hit the star button. Let us know how we're doing. And I believe the program on Spotify is that if you get enough star reviews, then people can start leaving actual comment reviews and word reviews. And Cicero is dead staring you in the eyes. He needs you to hit the star button.
That's right.
He needs you to hit the sub button. Yeah. All right. Anyway, listeners, we love you. Thank you for giving us your ears here tonight. Cicero, first of all, where were you when Xbox announced they're acquiring Activision-Blizzard?
January 18th, 2022, a day that will live on in infamy. Where was I when the announcement of the acquisition was released to the world? I was in my bed. Was sleeping. Snoring. Snoring. Because I think it was announced probably about 7:30, maybe 8:30 Eastern time. So yeah, somewhere around 8 a.m. Eastern time. This morning, the press release went out, or whatever the blurb was that went out, and then sometime after that, Phil Spencer tweeted, and then on the Xbox Wire online, they also made it official. So in the span of receiving a text from people saying, "Holy expletive, this thing happened," and me saying, "Holy expletive, what?" and kind of like, like being discombobulated and really trying to figure this out. This is not supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in between there, it went from being a rumor that the Wall Street Journal was reporting to an official thing that had already occurred. So that was weird. I guess really the one thing that I should say is Duck was right. Duck was right. Like, yeah,
we have to give kudos to Justin, because he's argued several times and has brought it up. Having Activision-Blizzard as the next acquisition for Xbox, and give kudos to you. It's something that both you and I, Cicero, just like I always say on Test Your Might when we debate is that, like, when I debate something, it has to have some level of plausibility.
Absolutely.
And there's absolutely no plausibility to this.
No.
But it's still happening.
This comes from a different. Yeah, this comes from a different universe. This isn't right. This isn't real. Like he, Duck just went in and said, "All right, what could I do? Like, what's the wildest thing that I can dream of? The most outrageous thing that I can dream of?" And that's what I'm going to speak that into existence. And yeah, we dismissed him as being a crazy person because that's what a crazy person says, right? Like a crazy person says Microsoft is going to buy arguably the second largest development studio or production studio in gaming, right? Like sure, go, right, whatever, right? Like then it's over. So that doesn't make sense. That's not a thing that's going to happen. But that's the thing that just happened.
That's the thing that just happened.
Yeah. So
I was just perusing Twitter. I was, getting some breakfast ready for the kids, and I see Jason Schreier kind of comment on this Wall Street Journal post, and I'm just like, this just can't be a thing. And then lo and behold, like 10 minutes later, Phil Spencer throws out a tweet about it, and it's official when Daddy P
right.
sends it out into the ether. And to be honest, like today, man, I was just stuck on my phone. I was literally just stuck on it, just watching, listening to people's opinions, like Neo Game Spark. I don't know. I think you've I was in his spaces earlier, listening to some of the conversation there, and I think it's just absolutely insane. Again, something that I never see. So, again, we're going to get some high-level thoughts here. Just like, I think the biggest question right off the bat, I guess there's two big questions for us to tackle here, Cicero. The first one is exclusivity. This is something that we talked about, obviously, with Bethesda. Right. And, we as a panel here on Test Your Might, we were 100% in agreement. Like, you don't spend $7 billion to not make these games exclusive.
Right.
But at least my initial thought process behind it on this one here, Cicero, is that it's slightly different. I just see it a little bit different, especially when it comes to Call of Duty. Specifically, Call of Duty is, I think, where we'll frame this conversation. So, Cicero, what do you think about that? Like, Call of Duty specifically, is it still staying multi-platform, or you think we got an exclusive thing coming to Xbox now?
I think the one thing that you'll get that's exclusive is DLC. There may be some time exclusivity for DLC, and there may be some Xbox-only DLC that will come out with, some type of Xbox-branded whatever, skins, whatever, that we may wind up seeing. But outside of that, I don't believe in a million years, which I guess in this backwards world means that it's guaranteed to happen. But I don't believe in a million years that
Cicero, we're not dealing with millions here. Billion years, please.
Right. That I don't believe that we'll ever see a single console or a console exclusive Call of Duty. Like, I just don't think that's going to happen. And I think we were right when we said that you don't spend $7 billion to share the games with your competitors, right? But you do when you spend $70 billion, you don't care, right? Because at that point, you don't have competitors. You just have other people in your space. Yeah. And I think that's where we are. So drawn in more specifically, like as we talk specifically about Call of Duty, I don't see Call of Duty ever going console exclusive. It just doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. Look at Minecraft, look at, other games of that ilk that Microsoft currently own. And it doesn't make sense for them to up until this point 2 years ago, Call of Duty was one of the biggest, and it still is one of the biggest games annually in the industry. So you're not going to wall that off, right? You're not going to stop that money from coming in.
Yeah, I mean,
but you may incentivize people to play in
Xbox.
play in your playground.
Call of Duty is an interesting beast because, as you know, Cicero, Vanguard was not received well at all, and yet it still sold gangbusters, so to speak. Not according to Activision. Like, Activision was at least the stockholders were very disappointed in its performance in sales, sure. But still, it was still the best-selling game in November when it came out, and it was the best-selling game in December during the holidays as well. So I mean, it is selling. It's selling as if it's supposed to still, but at the same time, like, there's so many problems with Call of Duty as a development cycle with the 3 studios. And just like visions, you're a sports games guy. Call of Duty is in the same realm. It's virtually quote unquote the same thing every single year. So I think with Call of Duty, like, I think the biggest question is, are you going to give these time? Is Xbox willing to give the time to these developers to create something that is wholly unique and new to the space of Call of Duty? While I believe, and I agree with you, that Call of Duty is still in this space where it's a Minecraft type game. Like, I mean, you think of Bethesda acquisition, Fallout 76, it is a service game. Elder Scrolls Online, it is a service game. Absolutely. I think Microsoft is thinking about Call of Duty probably in that sense as well, that it is a service game. Now, let me pose this question to you here, Cicero. The other question to this is Warzone. I was listening to Unlocked earlier on my way home. They had an episode on this, and they were talking specifically they believe that mainline Call of Duties will be exclusive, going forward after the acquisition, maybe a couple of years after the acquisition, but like Warzone will be the Call of Duty experience that you can have on other platforms. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Warzone is going to be the Call of Duty experience, almost full stop, right? Like, so one of the problems that Activision has historically has been that they take a franchise from nothing and build it into the biggest thing in the world, right? And then they keep releasing it without, and they iterate a little, but when it's all said and done, it's still too much of the same, and they keep coming out with, more versions of that title, even when the audience is telling them, is not calling for it. They're not asking for it. But because the machine has already started going down the hill, they've got to keep pumping them out because the machine has to keep rolling. And they do that until they just kill the franchise. That's what happened with Guitar Hero. And that's what's happening with Call of Duty. Now, the question is, does Xbox care? Is that something that they're going to try and triage? Do they think that gamers are having COD fatigue? I would say so. I know that I dip in and out of that. Like, I don't have to get every Call of Duty in the same way that I have to get every Madden.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know what it is. Right. Like, I don't know what it is, because fundamentally they are the same. You're right.
Yeah.
But like, I do have to get every Madden, but I don't have to get every Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And whether Microsoft is going to be okay with people coming in and out is going to be something to really, like, dissect. But at least for now, I don't see any of that stuff going exclusive, because from my perspective, and I respect the people over at IGN and Unlocked a ton. But from my perspective, like the reason this acquisition was made was to say that there is no console war anymore, right? The Bethesda acquisition was to get Microsoft a foothold to say that we are for real now.
We're in the space.
And we are giving, we're giving gamers they're going to have a real dilemma now when it comes to which plastic box sits in front of their television screen, right? And this Activision acquisition, Activision-Blizzard, or Blizzard Activision acquisition was not about the plastic box in front of your screen. What they're saying now, what Microsoft's saying now is, we've got the content, and we have multiple ways to deliver that content to you. And really, we don't care where you're going to get that content, where you're going to get the content from, but 75% of the content that's out there in the ether belongs to us now.
Yeah.
So we just want you to consume it. So whether you consume it on a PlayStation or on a PC or via Game Pass, via the cloud, or on an Xbox console, we just care that you're consuming the content. And so what's more important now is not the Xbox consoles, but Game Pass as a service. And where they're going to make their money is by making Game Pass a more desirable service. And if you keep collecting more and more stuff, then it becomes a no-brainer, right? Yeah. Like you're removing the hurdles from me to keep me from saying, no, I won't give you 15, which will probably turn into $20 a month to play all the games.
There's no way Game Pass does not go up in price.
Right.
No way.
Especially since we're talking about not only Activision Blizzard, but also Ubisoft Plus finding its way into Game Pass. And that's a $15 a month service currently.
Yeah, I mean Ubisoft Plus isn't coming to Game Pass, but I mean it's probably will eventually be. I mean, just like EA Play was, So, yeah. I mean, I think your stance on what the reasoning behind this purchase is good. I mean, you just they also got King, which is huge, and they're the developers of Candy Crush, and they're huge in the mobile
all the mobile
space.
Games.
And Microsoft is just wanting people to experience great games wherever they're at. And so, I mean, I think with the Call of Duty space, I think they're perfectly okay with keeping it on PlayStation and saying, hey, if you want to do this, you could pay $70 for this game.
Right.
Thank you for your extra $70. But if you want to do this and you're only going to play COD for 2 months, here's Game Pass. Hypothetically, you could spend $30 just to play Call of Duty for 2 months. $40 if they raise the price $5. So I agree with you on that. I also think that like the acquisition, let's just get into it. I think Xbox potentially saw an opportunity to help the culture of Activision Blizzard because they've seen the issues happening in real life and the allegations and all that, and I just truly believe that although Xbox is buying this company, like I think what they are going to continue doing is allowing the developers to be the developers, but to help the culture and to in this case it's a little different, right, Cicero? Because like they are helping the culture of Bethesda. They're helping let me rephrase. They're not necessarily stepping on Bethesda's toes. They're not necessarily stepping on Playground's toes. I think here they need to step on Activision Blizzard's toes, and they need to get in there from the ground up and definitely help the culture there because I think it needs it. Thoughts?
Well, yes, right? I think many things can be true with respect to what you just said. Yes, Microsoft is going to come in and fix that culture because it's a toxic one, and they own it now. So they have to, right? Like, that's not something that they want to be involved in. They don't want to be in that kind of business. But I will be remiss. Like, I am not going to dissuade you from believing that there was an altruistic mission from Microsoft in this acquisition. What I will say is that I find it, from my perspective, hard to believe that altruism is involved in one of the largest wholesale acquisitions in the history of business from a dollar's perspective, right? Like, if the market cap on Activision-Blizzard was $7 billion or $5 billion, and Microsoft paid $7 billion, and they had all of these troubles, and you said, oh yeah, there was, altruism played a big factor in this acquisition, then I would be more apt to believe you. What I believe is that as a result of the stuff that was coming out of this culture, they saw an opportunity, and they struck at that opportunity because they knew what I think they believed, and I think they were correct about, was that no one internally within Activision-Blizzard was prepared to transition beyond where they were right now. And they were going to be too slow to react, and it was going to do material damage to the brand and to the content that was supposed to be coming out of that organization. Microsoft saw this as an opportunity to say, we can come in, we're a well-established from an organizational standpoint, we're well-established in our DEI and and harassment policies. We can go in and buy this company on the cheap at $70 billion, and right, and immediately say, you're a Microsoft company. This is how we operate. These are our standards and practices. You'll go through the classes, and that's the end of it, right? Like, we know how this works. We know you guys have had problems, right? Those are issues that you guys are dealing with and are being dealt with, but you're going to go through the sexual harassment training that we've had, that is tested and vetted, and you're going to sign off, and then we're done, right? Like, and Microsoft or Xbox, the Xbox team, can come out and stand behind that, right? They can come out and say, we know how to do that part.
Yeah.
Right? That part is easy peasy. And so where I think the impetus for making this acquisition was as a result of those problems, but what they saw was an opportunity to rescue the content, rescue the IP.
Yeah.
And keep the IP going, because I really do think the IP was in jeopardy.
Yeah.
But now what they've also seen from Microsoft's perspective, what they've also seen is that it kind of ends the debate about where you play your games, right? Like, there's almost like there's three platforms, right? There's Nintendo, because they're kind of in a silo unto themselves, right? And they've got their exclusives. Sony's got their exclusives, right? And now, as a result of this acquisition, are kind of in a silo unto themselves. And then there's gaming. And gaming is owned by Microsoft now. Right? Like,
they should have renamed Phil Spencer's title CEO of Gaming.
Yes, right. Like, that's kind of it, right? Like, there are some independents. There are a couple of other publishers. Take-Two, for instance. Take-Two's market cap is $19 billion, right? Do we not foresee in a year or two, if this this Activision acquisition kind of settles and things, like go the way that Microsoft is predicting, do we not see that Take-Two becomes part of, just gets enveloped into this Katamari that is Microsoft now?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a topic for another day, but we were, you, me, Duck, and Joe were chatting earlier in our group chat, and I was like, they need to stop. Like, I don't know. I just think they need to stop, at least for a while. But yeah, all right. Let's get into some cons. So maybe like 2 or 3 cons that you see from this, that you're just like, I'm iffy about this whole acquisition thing. Let's hear them, because I got a couple myself.
All right. Well, I mean, the first was the first reaction was, holy crap. The second reaction was, I don't know if I like this, right? Because this does kind of ring, it has the smell of the bad, like of the underdog kid who becomes the bully. You and I have both watched Cobra Kai. Right? And
I haven't seen season 4 yet, so don't say anything.
Right. Yeah, neither have I. Neither have I.
Good.
But in Cobra Kai, there is a kid that starts out in the early seasons who starts out as someone that is lovable. Mm-hmm. And then at a certain point, he turns a corner, and then that character becomes less lovable. Mm-hmm. And because it seems like the character goes from someone who was believing that he could do it, then he knows he can do it, to now teasing other people because they can't. And I worry that Microsoft, like, we've already seen both companies fall because of hubris, right? Because they were the hot thing in town in the generation. In fact, the last few generations, right? We look at it, the PS2 was the big deal, was the hot stuff in the Xbox PS2 generation. And then they came on the stage and was like, hey, you're gonna get a second job for a PS3. and the 360 was the market leader for most of that generation. Xbox came in the next generation and was like, oh, TV, we're radically changing how you get your content, and we're going to kind of like block you out of it because you've always got to be online, and too bad you can't do the things. And Sony came back and was like, oh, hey, you want to trade your game? Here, I just handed it to the guy. Oh, and we're less expensive. and they wound up being the market leader last generation. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to PS5 generation, you can't get the daggone console. It's a myth even now. And they're talking about all of these services like, who needs a service? We don't need a service. We're PlayStation. We're all this other stuff. Well, meanwhile, Phil Spencer's like, hey, we're going to do subscription services. Hey, we're going to do backwards compatibility in a very real way. And we're going to bundle it into the service. So you're not worried about like, oh, did I spend the money on this game that I didn't play? Mm-hmm. And, I don't want to do that. I don't want to download. And they just kept innovating on what is the future and looking forward and being very humble about how they've accomplished things. And now they've done it, right? Like, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. There's no more discussion about if you want to play games, right? Yeah. Like, just games, where you go to play games.
Yeah.
There is no discussion anymore.
I'm just gonna gonna piggyback on that, because I think that's a con in myself as well, that, just thinking about it, is that, like, you're right about that Underdog thing. Like, they were the Underdog and they acquired Bethesda, and like, what what I believe the acquisition of Bethesda was to bolster their first party games and selection, right?
Of course, yes,
and
yes.
That was the rationale that I put in my head, that like, okay, acquiring this just gives gives Xbox, I say us as if we're like sponsored by them,
part of the team,
but like gives Xbox this breadth of content that they were missing.
Yes.
And now this here, it almost seems like they're just doing it just to do it. Like, Call of Duty is huge, right? Right. WoW is huge. World of Warcraft is huge. Overwatch is huge, even though Overwatch 2 is in probably development hell right now. But like, at the end of the day, like, and the Unlocked crew is actually saying this. So when you listen to it, I believe it was Miranda Sanchez who said something like, the Bethesda deal meant so much more because of the simple fact of the pedigree of the games that they have made, versus where Activision, they bust out a Call of Duty every single year, and it's just like Ryan on Unlocked, he said, when's the last time Activision actually made a new IP? I mean, Crash 4? But that's still not a new IP. That's like
no, it's just another sequel. It's just been a while.
So like it's just one of those things that it's just like they're just purchasing it for purchasing sake, and I don't know. It just felt a little off to me.
Well, it's because Activision makes games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right? Like that's it, it's almost like if your kitchen, if all of a sudden you were like, all right, I'm buying McDonald's, right? And McDonald's is my kitchen now. So it's, it's not the best food, but it's food.
Yeah.
And it's recognizable and people eat it all the time. And you're always going to make money because you've got a McDonald's, right? It may not be the thing that everybody dies, it's not going to be anybody's last meal, right? It's not going to be anybody's first meal. But it's going to be a lot of the meals in between. And that's exactly what Activision is, right? That's what this Activision acquisition is. They bought McDonald's, right? And when they bought Bethesda, they bought a very different, a much nicer chain, right? The Texas Roadhouse,
they bought
right?
Culver's.
Right. Only people in the Midwest will get that one, right? But yeah, right. Again, only people in the Midwest will get that.
Portillo's is out in California. Talk to Greg Miller. He knows.
Yeah, he brought the Portillo's to California.
Anyway.
But the Bethesda acquisition meant more because it meant more, right? Because what it meant for Xbox was that they were serious about giving their gamers first-party titles that they can say are worth owning the console or worth purchasing the console in order to play.
Yeah.
That's what the Bethesda acquisition was pretended for Microsoft and for Xbox. This acquisition kind of fell into their laps because they're cash rich, right? They're part of a $1 trillion company, and they're one of the profit centers in that $1 trillion company. So they kind of get the chance to get what they want out of it. But they had an opportunity here. Here was a company that tripped and was staggering.
Yeah.
And they were able to just envelop them. And as a result of enveloping them, they've decided, all right, well, there is no more. The delineation is now between, do you want to play these Sony exclusive games? Do you want to play these Nintendo? Sony now is Nintendo. I don't know if there is a better way to kind of encapsulate who they are now, right? And like what this means, right? Sony is Nintendo. They've got their console, they've got their hardware, they make games that benefit that that their hardware can benefit from. They code for it, and you wind up having great experiences while you're playing there. But then when you want to play other games, you go and you play the game station. And now the game station, right? And now the game station is Microsoft or Xbox's family of content delivery.
As you were talking there, I was just thinking of one word, and that word was strategic. And that's what, as you were explaining that Bethesda deal, that's the word that came into my mind, because like that Bethesda acquisition, it felt strategic. It felt like Xbox is behind the game. They don't have the first party exclusives that they truly need. And so they buy a powerhouse in narrative, single player, first party experiences that PlayStation already had. And that's where the icky feelings come from this acquisition, is that it doesn't necessarily feel strategic. Yeah, certainly it was strategic in the sense of like, hey, I'm just going to stomp my foot in here. My flag it's there. It ain't just stuck in the ground. I have dug a hole. I have gotten a pole fixture and I have put cement around it, and here is my flag. That type of deal. But it just it didn't feel strategic in the way that it pushes Xbox forward like Bethesda did. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
As
so and I completely agree with you, right? Because, but what it's done is it's kind of wiped Xbox away, right? Like if we sat and we thought about Xbox as a console, as a physical device that was being propped up next to the PlayStation brand, the Bethesda acquisition was a thing to allow that thing to shine a little bit brighter and really have some comparative weight with the PlayStation. This acquisition, it makes all of that stuff irrelevant now.
Yeah.
It's all irrelevant. It does, like, none of that stuff matters anymore. It is, again, it is so hard to. No way that I thought that this was going to happen, but here we are, right? But here we are, and like now there is no more console war, right? There is no more. That's not a discussion anymore. That's not even a thing that you even talk about. It's laughable now.
Yeah.
Right? That's over. Now it's just how is Sony going to make their games relevant so that people will want to come and spend hundreds of dollars to get a plastic box to sit in front of their console so that they can play these games.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that when we're done with this generation, Microsoft is done with making plastic set-top boxes.
I don't know. They've already said that they're making their next Xbox. So
what I believe it to be will be like a even smaller footprint than the Series S, right? Which is impossibly small.
Yeah.
Where I think we're going is dongles that are basically just a Bluetooth antenna for your controllers and any other peripherals that are available, and then you hook them up to whatever your vision device happens to be, and that's all you've got.
Yeah,
right. Because that's all you need.
I hesitate to hold to that view, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's kind of what I would say. That's plausible. I don't think that Xbox is not thinking about that, but I do believe that they're still in the console game in that sense. Any other?
When's the next console?
Well,
when's the next console? When's the next piece of hardware? Do you think?
I mean,
what year does this generation end?
I would say normal cycle, 7 to 8 years.
So that puts us what at 2027?
Yeah, 2027.
2027. Yeah. If there is a piece of plastic in front of whatever constitutes a television in 2027, man, I will be very like.
You want to place a bet on
shocked.
This? I'll place a bet.
I would be shocked. Yeah, I would be shocked if that is the. If it's not optional in the same way that like buying a game on a disc.
Yeah.
Is optional. Like I haven't bought a game on a physical disc in 2 generations. Right? So if it's not optional like that, right? Like, oh, you can buy a set-top box if you want to, okay, fine. But yeah, by 2027, almost 2030, man, get out of here.
They've already said that they're making another Xbox, but we're gonna have a lunch bet on this.
I got it.
Even though you always buy my lunch anyway when we go out.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I'll let you buy my lunch. We're going to Peter Luger's.
All right, Peter Luger's. Sounds good. That sounds expensive, actually. That's a steakhouse.
Yeah, Peter Luger's. Yeah, Peter Luger's is expensive.
All right, can we just go to Culver's?
Right. We can go to McDonald's.
Oh, sounds good. Happy meal for you. It'll fill you up. All right.
Get the McRib.
I think we've hinted on a lot of cons, unless you have anything else that you were thinking of.
Yeah, well, the real big con for me is that Microsoft loses sight of the energy that brought them here.
Yeah.
Right? And that we wind up
becomes complacent in the
I mean, Microsoft has kind of they've gone. We've seen in a generation, they've gone from the Rebel Alliance to the Empire.
Yeah, well, and then like thinking about Sony as well. Like I don't want to bash them. They make fantastic experiences,
100%.
And they're a fantastic company. They're a good studio. And all the but like you see a little bit of complacency in them as well, in the sense of like, with this PS5 generation taking for granted, or even the rumors of like a Last of Us remake. Like we don't need another Last of Us remake. That type of stuff. So I could totally see that with Xbox in this acquisition. Okay. I'll say another con. And then I'll lead us into our pros, okay? Because one of my pros relates to this con.
Okay.
So my con is that with all the sexual harassment and everything going on at Activision-Blizzard, that now is going to fall on Xbox and Microsoft. And it is going to be, in my opinion, incredibly difficult, incredibly hard to navigate those things as it becomes their responsibility. But my pro is, and tell me if you agree with this pro, I think they'll knock it out of the park. I don't think that they are. I think they're second to none in the gaming industry, in inclusion, in accessibility, in so many things that make the gamer the focus, and also the developer's mental and physical health the focus as well. I really think Xbox will knock it out of the park, but also it brings it a little bit to that con side where it's like, okay, this is just a lot to handle. Not only are you buying a huge company, but they have some scandal behind it, like some big time scandal behind it, even though I think they'll knock it out of the park in navigating all that. So that's my pro. Do you want to weigh in on that?
So what I'll say is this deal doesn't get done if they don't think this is a non-issue.
Yeah.
right? Like if they're not 1,000% confident that all of this, the sexual harassment stuff is stuff that they can put to bed immediately, then this deal doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're aware of this, right?
Yeah.
It's this stuff that's happening that has created the opportunity for them to come swoop in and make this acquisition. Yeah. And you're not going to spend, right? Like, yes, Microsoft's a $1 trillion company, so they've got the money to spend, but you don't spend $70 billion on something that's on fire if you're not sure you've got enough water to put the fire out.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
like
I'm
you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
I do believe it, and in this sense, you're right on both in both instances. One about the altruism of Microsoft, but in two, in that they will succeed in taking care of this problem, right? Or nipping it in the bud and fostering a much better and much healthier environment for everyone involved. And I think where the other part of the acquisition, or the other part of why this acquisition was made, was so that they could have that moment, right? Where you can have that moment after it's all said and done, where Microsoft says, hey, we've got a great corporate culture. We've got a great, healthy, safe, and an inclusive corporate culture, and we have infected that festering swamp pit that was Activision-Blizzard with our healthy, inclusive corporate culture. Look at us, right? We can do it. We know how to make that happen, and we want to see that happen with these. Right. Like, let's be clear. No matter what is happening at Activision-Blizzard have been staples in this business and have made incredible games for years. Right.
And like, I understand that you bring up the point that, like, they weren't solely thinking about the altruistic, side of things when purchasing Activision-Blizzard. But I do have this sense that just Microsoft and the team there have to believe that, like, they just want to help this company that is like in this spot, and for the gamer, for the developers, they want these people to be making great games, having fun doing so,
right? And
be able to release their game into an ecosystem that doesn't have the little bird on the shoulder saying, but Bobby Kotick is a arse, like that type of thing,
right.
So
yeah, and you're right. I think Microsoft says, yes, I want them to do all of those things. I want them to do that for me.
Yeah.
I want them to do that for us. And that's why they made that acquisition, right? It wasn't like they sent over a bunch of Microsoft HR consultants to help mediate whatever issues were going on in Activision-Blizzard. Now, they may go and do that now, but they're doing that for Microsoft employees.
Yeah.
They're not going to be, they weren't doing that for Activision-Blizzard employees. So, like, all of that stuff I think is true, but it's true in my family, not true for somebody that lives, across the street, unless I'm buying his house.
All right? Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm gonna go first because I want to say it. You're not gonna get to say it. Okay. I'm gonna look my camera in the face, listeners.
Okay, look your camera in the face.
Yes, listeners. If you're not looking at me, look at me now.
All right.
I'm gonna call you out if you're not a Game Pass subscriber by the end of the month.
Wow. End of the month.
There is Game Pass is. It was already the greatest deal in gaming.
Yes.
You have no excuse now. You have no... Cicero, like, the biggest game of every single year is going to go into Game Pass day one. Call of Duty.
Most likely,
Will
yeah.
most likely go into Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
Right. Think about this. If you play on PC, World of Warcraft might be included. Your subscription to World of Warcraft might be included in Game Pass.
Maybe.
So let me bring this pro. Let me bring this pro into a question for you.
Right.
Is Game Pass worth it at $25 to $30?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, yes.
Yeah, for me as well.
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, yes. Because the more they acquire, the less I have to buy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I played tons of games last year, but I bought very few games.
It's
last
like
year.
zero.
Right. You know, like I bought Madden. I stupidly bought MLB The Show on PlayStation.
God, I'm not gonna let you live that down, by the way. I'm just not.
Right. Okay. Right. I mean, sure. Why not? Like I said it.
I love you, man.
It's there for ridicule. But I bought Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which, I'll happily buy again. Fantastic game. But like, yeah, I bought like 4 or 5 games maybe over the course of the year, but I played dozens and dozens and dozens of games over the course of the year. And like, I downloaded a bunch of games, but there were several games that I didn't even have to download and was still able to play.
Yeah, you just
part of my
cloud.
subscription service.
Yeah.
Right. And the more of these games that wind up in that service, and we didn't even talk about this part of it, right? If they do to Activision-Blizzard what they've done to Bethesda and what they've done to their Microsoft first parties, and we start gaining access to Call of Duty World at War and Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 and those single player, maybe the servers won't be up.
Yeah.
But if I'm able to play through those campaigns again, and I'm able to play through them without having to download the games themselves again, then that again becomes part of the value proposition that is Game Pass. So even $30 a year is $360, or $30 a month is $360 a year. That's expensive. That's pushing it, right? Once we get to $20, I think there needs to be an annual price, right?
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be an annual membership. If we get to $20 a month, I will pay $200 a year.
Yeah.
To have access to Game Pass.
Yeah. So $200, 12. That's
right.
20,
So I mean,
$25, a month.
Right. So you're saving $40.
Yeah.
You're saving $40 over the $20. $20 a month. Right.
It's late. I couldn't do math, bro.
Right. It's so right now it's $180 a year.
Yeah.
At $15. So if you bump the price up by $5 a month, but give me the option of an annual subscription of $200 a year, then I jump on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, because I'm right, exactly. Because I'm already paying $180 a year for Game Pass. I'll pay another $20 and have everything
100%.
Done and done.
Yeah.
Done and
So
done. What's the acquisition that you want to see either Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo make next?
What's the acquisition?
Yes. Where do you? Yeah. Like, there's very few studios that are out there in the ether. But what's the acquisition of the studio or IP?
Yeah.
Or what?
I mean, let me harken back to what I've said in the past, and what I even said here today is that I always thought the acquisitions were to be strategic in nature. And again, I don't see this one as extremely strategic as far as boosting what Xbox is. And so In my opinion, and we were talking about it earlier, I 100% agree with you in our group chat. Sega, I really think Sega would be the next best acquisition if they're gonna be continuing the acquisition season, because like
Right.
Sega has a foothold in the JRPG in the Japanese market, and
Right.
that's what Xbox is lacking, and so I think that would be, I mean, as far as PlayStation goes, I mean, Square Enix, I could see.
Do they have the money to get Square Enix?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I'm seeing reports on Twitter all over the place that PlayStation just does not have the cash to
They don't.
to do this type of stuff. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah. We'll see. But like, I think maybe like an exclusive deal for a lot of things Square Enix could come down the road for PlayStation. But regardless, any other pros before we get to dreams? Like any other pros?
Any other pros? I mean, the pros are that it's accessibility, right? So not only is Microsoft the king of accessibility if you are disabled in some way, it is the place where you have the best opportunity to play and experience these games through their myriad controllers and different accessibility options, but also access, right? Mm-hmm. That type of accessibility. The fact that you are going to have the ability to play more games in so many different ways. Think about I happen to be a T-Mobile customer, so every Tuesday we get this thing called T-Mobile Tuesday where they give us coupons and discounts for different things. Think about the T-Mobile Tuesday Microsoft crossover where you get a discount on one of the controllers for your phone, right? Or 3 months of Game Pass for free. Like, these things are going to be happening now.
Yeah.
Right? Like Verizon doing 6 months of Game Pass for free and a coupon for a controller or whatever. Like, those are the things that are going to be happening now, right? Like, that's the competition. Microsoft's not in the competition of trying to get players to realize that they should be playing on the Xbox family of consoles or in the Xbox ecosystem. Now they're trying to convince everybody that they should be playing in the Xbox ecosystem wherever they happen to be.
I'm with you on that. Okay. Dreams. What are some crazy, outlandish things that you would love to see from this? Maybe on a game developer level or something like that.
So where I want to see things go now is now that Microsoft has accomplished the goal of winning the games war, right? The console war, and this is tongue in cheek, of course. Don't get angry, or do get angry. Who cares? Now that they've won the war, what I want to see them do is start to innovate. I want to be able to play my games in VR, right? Like, I don't know why, but I want to be able to play my games in VR. I want to see what Microsoft is able to do with gaming in both the virtual and the augmented reality spaces. That's where those are my dreams. So my dreams are that we will start to get games that I can play, and I will get HoloLens glasses that are more affordable. Maybe they're $200-$300 that will give me a HUD on my glasses as opposed to my screen, and will give me AR things that I can reach for and grab and access while I'm playing my games.
Do you have any dreams for like Activision-Blizzard specifically?
So my dream is, I don't know if I have dreams, I have hopes. So my hope is that Activision is able to slow down the machine a little, right? Because it really what it boils down to, they've got 4 big titles, right? There's World of Warcraft, there's Diablo, there's Overwatch, and there's Call of Duty, right? And then there's the 5th one is really StarCraft. So my hope for them is
don't forget
that
Candy
they're able
Crush.
to. Oh yes, right, and on the mobile side, right, and then all the crap that winds up on the mobile side. My hope for them is that they're able to slow down and be more thoughtful about the new additions that they're adding to these franchises. That this acquisition gives them the space now that they're also part of a $1 trillion company as opposed to a $50 billion company, to just say, oh, okay, maybe we don't have to shove another iteration of Call of Duty down the gamer's throat this year. Maybe we can take some time to make a good one, and be thoughtful about what a good Call of Duty is, and be able to use that level of care and thought in all of the games that they develop going forward. That's my hope for them. And then of course another Tony Hawk game. Right? That's the hope. There you go. That's yours.
No, that's mine. You stole it.
Yes.
So my hope, my dream, is that they reverse the decision to fold Vicarious Visions into Blizzard and have them be Vicarious Visions, developers of the recent Tony Hawk remake. First, remake 3 and 4, then remake Underground 1 and 2, then make their own Tony Hawk. Oh my God. Okay. That's my dream.
Right.
Man,
let me dream.
Vicarious Vision, such a wonderful series, or such a wonderful developer who made my game of the year from 2020. Man, I want Tony Hawk to be a real game again, in the sense of like not just a remake, but new iterations. So yeah, I love Tony Hawk, and yeah, I'm hoping that they do that. Okay, my only other dream. Call of Duty has many developers around it. They also have many developers, including Vicarious Visions, that are working on maps or whatever they work on with Call of Duty. But I don't know if you remember these 2 little games. One was a precursor to the other. One was an evolution to that precursor. But X-Men Legends and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, made by none other than Raven Software, who was just acquired by Microsoft. I think it would be so cool to take Raven Software out of that development cycle and have them focus on some other things, do some passion projects, like maybe go back into the Marvel space and make another X-Men Legends. I know Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was made for the Switch exclusively, but just give them some cool ideas. Raven Software also made Wolverine Origins, which was a fantastic game that gets talked about a lot in the superhero space, but obviously it was based off a movie that was absolutely dog doo-doo.
Right. The game was much better than the movie. Yes,
very much so. But I don't know how that's going to look, because I know Raven Software is specifically their Warzone developer now. They're only on Warzone. So we'll see what happens. But that's a dream of mine. That's high-level dreaming. I'm going to take that to my grave. I'm dreaming. All right. Cicero, anything else on this crazy news day, man?
No, this is a crazy news day. This is these events happen, once every 3 or 4 years. Nothing's happened that's been this big. but there have been these seismic shifts in the gaming world, and it's always fun to be a part of this space when these types of things happen.
Yeah.
I want to thank Phil Spencer and the good folks at Microsoft for dropping this bomb and giving the enthusiast press and the games journalism press something really exciting to talk about and to ponder for a little while.
Yeah. I know that I speak for Cicero and all of us here at the 90s First and Test Your Might. We just we love podcasting and we love talking about this stuff. So Cicero, thank you so much for short notice joining me for this bonus episode. It was a blast chatting with you.
Had to be done.
All right, Cicero, can you remind our guests what they should be doing if they've listened to our beautiful voices and our dubious adultery something tones?
Yes, all those the tones do. You should be subscribing in a place where you subscribe.
Yes,
you should be listening in the places where you can listen. You should be sharing in the places where you can share. And then you should be reviewing in the places where you can review. And if there is a place where you want to leave a review and you can't, let somebody know so that we can find out and we can receive those reviews. If you give us reviews, we will read them. If you scream us reviews, we will listen to them and we will talk about them. So yeah, please do that. Please let us know what we're doing. Please let us know what you like. Please let us know what you don't like. And then come back.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. We would love to have your ears listen to our tones once again.
Yes.
Something that I'm going to be starting doing at the end of every episode now is just reminding everybody where you could follow Cicero, me, Justin, Joe, or whatever. But Cicero is at Stubby Stan. That's STUBBYSTAN on the Twitters, on the Instas, on all the things. And then
all the things.
On Twitter, I am Mike 90s First. So catch us on there. This has been a bonus episode of Test Your Might. Xbox acquires Activision-Blizzard. Mind blown. We love you guys. We'll talk to you later. For Cicero, my name's Mike. See ya.
Peace.
Peace.